19th June 1944. Philippine Sea, approximately 130 kilometers west of Saipan. 910 hours? USS Albacore, a Gado-class submarine. Displacement, 2,424 tons submerged. Detects aircraft carrier on sonar. Range approximately 9,000 meters. The carrier is moving at approximately 27 knots. She is zigzagging. She is screened by destroyers. She is Taiho, the newest and most advanced carrier in the Imperial Japanese Navy. Commander James Blanchard, commanding Albacore, studies the sonar data. The tactical situation is terrible. The range is extreme. The target is fast. The zigzag pattern is unpredictable. The destroyers will attack if Albacore is detected. Standard doctrine says wait for better position. Blanchard decides to shoot anyway. At 932 hours, Albacore fires 6 torpedoes. Mark 14, steam-powered, 45 knot speed. Range to target approximately 9,000 meters. Runtime approximately 3 minutes. The torpedoes are set for depth of 3 meters. The spread pattern accounts for target movement in zigzag. The firing solution is based on sonar data. Estimated course. Estimated speed. Everything is estimate. Everything is uncertainty. 1 torpedo hits. At 935 hours, a single Mark 14 strikes Taiho on her starboard side near the forward elevator. The explosion is not catastrophic. The damage appears manageable. Taiho continues steaming. Her crew begins damage control. The carrier appears to have survived. She has not survived. The torpedo damaged aviation fuel lines. Gasoline vapor begins leaking into the ship. Poor damage control decisions allow the vapor to spread. Over the next 6 hours, the concentration increases. At approximately 1,530 hours, a single spark ignites the accumulated vapor. The explosion tears Taiho apart from inside. She sinks within minutes. Approximately 1,600 men die. Albacore does not know this. Blanchard hears the initial explosion. He believes the hit, but cannot confirm the kill. Albacore dives deep and evades the destroyers. She withdraws from the area, only later. Through intelligence reports, does the crew learn they sank Japan's newest fleet carrier. The shot was from extreme range against a fast, zigzagging target. The probability of hit was perhaps 5%. But the torpedo hit, and Taiho died. This was not unusual for Albacore. This was her specialty. Extreme range shots at difficult targets. High-speed calculations. Patient approach. Then sudden strike. She was the sniper of the submarine force, and she never missed when it mattered. To understand Albacore's success, you need to understand both the submarine and her commander's approach to impossible shots. USS Albacore was commissioned 1 June 1942. She was a Gado-class submarine, the standard U.S. fleet submarine of World War II. Displacement was 1,526 tons surface, 2,424 tons submerged. Length was 95 meters. She was armed with 10 torpedo tubes, 6 forward, 4 aft. She carried 24 torpedoes total. Her operational depth was approximately 90 meters safe, 120 meters maximum emergency. She was not exceptional technically. She was a standard boat with standard equipment. What made her exceptional was how she was used. Commander James Blanchard took command in September 1943. He brought a specific philosophy: patience, calculation, willingness to take shots other commanders would refuse. Most submarine commanders preferred close-range attacks. Under 3,000 meters was ideal. Under 2,000 meters was better. The closer the range, the higher the probability of hit. This was doctrine. This was training. This was how submarines fought. Blanchard disagreed. Close range meant higher detection risk. Aggressive escorts could kill you before you fired. The ideal position was range where you could shoot before being detected. That range was often beyond standard engagement distance. Therefore, shoot from long range. Accept lower probability of hit, but survive to shoot again. This philosophy required exceptional fire control. The Mark 14 torpedo had range of approximately 9,000 meters at high speed setting. But hitting a target at that range required accurate data on target course, speed, and position. Sonar provided approximate information. The fire control computer, the torpedo data computer, calculated firing solution. But at long range, small errors in input created large errors in result. Blanchard compensated through multiple observations. He would track targets for hours. He would update course and speed estimates continuously. He would wait for pattern recognition and zigzag movements. When he fired, his solutions were based on extended tracking, not single snapshot data. The computational load was higher, the patience required was extreme, but the results were better. Albacore's first patrol under Blanchard was October through December 1943. She operated in the East China Sea. She sank one cargo ship and damaged another. Modest results, but Blanchard was learning the boat, training the crew, refining his methods. The second patrol was more successful. December 1943 through February 1944. Albacore operated near the Marianas. On 18th December, she detected a Japanese light cruiser, Tenryu, escorted by destroyers. Range was approximately 7,000 meters. The cruiser was making 25 knots, zigzagging. Standard doctrine said wait for closer approach or better position. Blanchard calculated firing solution and shot. 4 torpedoes fired. 2 hits. Tenryu exploded and sank within 3 minutes. The destroyers counterattacked, but Albacore evaded. The kill was confirmed through signal intelligence. A light cruiser sunk from 7,000 meters against a zigzagging target. The shot was considered exceptional. Blanchard considered it successful application of method. The third patrol was April through June 1944. This patrol would include the Battle of the Philippine Sea, the largest carrier battle of the Pacific War. American carrier forces were attacking the Marianas. The Japanese responded with their mobile fleet, including 9 carriers. American submarines were positioned to intercept. Albacore was assigned patrol area west of Saipan. The location was expected intercept route for Japanese forces. On 19th June, the Japanese mobile fleet approached. Multiple American submarines detected elements of the fleet. Albacore was among them. At 0840 hours, sonar detected multiple contacts, large ships, high speed. Heading east, Blanchard began tracking. The sonar data suggested multiple carriers and escorts. The formation was moving at approximately 27 knots. They were zigzagging in coordinated pattern. The screen was approximately 10 destroyers. Standard doctrine said wait until the formation passed, then attack stragglers. Attacking the main body was high risk. Detection was probable. Counterattack was certain. But Blanchard studied the formation and identified the flagship, the largest carrier, presumably newest, most valuable target. Taiho, she was the lead carrier. She was the most heavily screened. She was the hardest target. Therefore, she was the target Blanchard selected. The approach required 90 minutes. Albacore moved into position slowly. The formation was moving toward her. She needed to position perpendicular to the track. The range would be approximately 9,000 meters at intercept. This was maximum effective range for Mark 14 torpedoes. Anything beyond was gambling. But closer approach meant detection. At 0930 hours, Blanchard had his solution. He had tracked Taiho for 50 minutes. He knew her base course. He understood the zigzag pattern. He had her speed calculated within 1 knot. The fire control computer had a solution. The probability of hit was low, perhaps 5 to 10% per torpedo, but 6 torpedoes gave reasonable chance one would hit. The order was given. 6 torpedoes fired from forward tubes. Spread pattern calculated to account for zigzag. Depth set for 3 meters. Running beneath the destroyer screen. Speed set for maximum 45 knots. Runtime approximately 3 minutes. Albacore went deep immediately after firing. Standard procedure. Firing torpedoes created a visible wake. Japanese lookouts would see it. The destroyers would respond. Albacore needed to be deep before they arrived. She descended to 100 meters and changed course. At 935 hours, 1 explosion. The sonar operator reported single hit. Blanchard noted it, but could not verify the target. The destroyers began depth charge attack. Albacore evaded, moving slowly at depth, minimizing noise. The attack continued for approximately 30 minutes. 20 depth charges were dropped, none close enough to cause serious damage. Albacore escaped. What happened to Taiho was documented later through Japanese survivors and post-war analysis. The single torpedo struck forward, near the elevator. The explosion breached the hull and damaged the aviation fuel system. Gasoline began leaking from ruptured pipes. The vapor accumulated in enclosed spaces. The critical error was damage control. Taiho's damage control officer ordered increased ventilation to disperse the vapor. This decision spread the gasoline vapor throughout the ship instead of containing it. Over 6 hours, the concentration increased to explosive levels. Any spark would ignite it. At approximately 1530 hours, a damage control party working with power tools created a spark. The accumulated vapor ignited instantly. The explosion ripped through multiple decks. The hangar deck was torn open. The flight deck buckled. Fires started throughout the ship. The damage was catastrophic. "Taiho lost power!" She lost steering. Fires spread beyond control. The crew attempted to fight the fires, but the damage was too extensive. At approximately 1600 hours, Captain Kikuchi ordered abandon ship. The carrier was sinking. By 1630 hours, Taiho was gone. She slipped beneath the surface stern first. Approximately 1600 crew died. 500 survived. The loss was devastating to Japan. Taiho was the newest carrier in the fleet. She had been commissioned only 2 months earlier in March 1944. She displaced 29,000 tons. She carried 75 aircraft. She was armored, designed to resist damage. She represented the future of Japanese carrier aviation. One torpedo from extreme range destroyed her. But the loss was not immediate from the torpedo. The torpedo damage was survivable. Taiho's fate was sealed by poor damage control. If the gasoline vapor had been contained rather than dispersed, the explosion might not have occurred. The ship might have survived. Instead, damage control decisions made hours after the torpedo hit caused the destruction. Blanchard learned of the kill months later. Intelligence reports confirmed Taiho sunk during the Battle of the Philippine Sea. American analysts believed she was destroyed by air attack, but Japanese survivors identified submarine torpedo as initial cause. The evidence was correlated with Albacore's position and attack report. The kill was credited to Albacore. For Blanchard and his crew, confirmation was satisfying. They had hit from 9,000 meters. They had struck the newest Japanese carrier. They had proven that long-range shots could succeed. The validation was complete. Albacore continued operations through 1944. She conducted multiple patrols. She sank additional ships. Her total score was 11 ships sunk, approximately 70,000 tons. She was one of the most successful submarines of the Pacific War, but her reputation was built on the difficult kills. Tenryu at 7,000 meters. Taiho at 9,000 meters. Ships that should not have been hit but were. The cost was that Albacore never returned. Her 11th patrol began in October 1944. She was assigned area off northern Japan. She was ordered to patrol near Hokkaido. Radio contact was maintained through early November. On 7th November 1944, contact ceased. Albacore did not respond to further transmissions. She was declared overdue and presumed lost on 21st December 1944. The cause of loss was never confirmed. Post-war analysis suggested she struck a mine. Japanese records documented minefield near her patrol area. The minefield was designed to protect approaches to Hokkaido. Multiple submarines were lost in that area. Albacore was probably another casualty. Her crew, 85 men including Commander Blanchard, were lost. None survived. The submarine was never found. She remained somewhere on the ocean floor off northern Japan. Her exact location is unknown. She disappeared as completely as the ship she sank. The historical assessment of Albacore is clear. She was exceptionally successful. Her methods were innovative. Blanchard's willingness to take long-range shots against difficult targets produced results other commanders could not achieve. The risks were higher, but the rewards justified the risks. The sinking of Taiho specifically was strategically significant. Japan lost her newest carrier during the Battle of the Philippine Sea. The battle was already a Japanese defeat. American carrier aircraft destroyed approximately 600 Japanese aircraft. Japanese carrier aviation never recovered. But losing Taiho made the defeat worse. The ship represented enormous investment of resources, materials, and skilled labor. She was destroyed 2 months after commissioning by a single torpedo from a submarine that fired from beyond effective range. The loss of Tenryu was less strategically significant, but tactically impressive. Light cruisers were not rare. Japan had dozens. But sinking one from 7,000 meters against a zigzagging target demonstrated capability that most submarine commanders lacked. The shot required calculation, patience, and confidence in the fire control solution. Blanchard had all three. The debate among submarine commanders about engagement range continued throughout the war. Some commanders maintained that close range was always better, higher probability of hit, more certain results. Others, influenced by Albacore's success, adopted longer-range tactics. The evidence suggested both approaches could work. The difference was the commander's skill and the tactical situation. What was undeniable was that Blanchard made long-range attacks work. He hit targets at ranges where other commanders would not shoot. He calculated firing solutions that others considered too uncertain. He proved that with sufficient tracking time and accurate data, extreme range attacks could succeed. The cost was his life and his crew. Albacore's aggressive patrols in dangerous waters eventually led to her loss. The mine that probably destroyed her was in an area she patrolled because targets were there. The aggressive tactics that made her successful also exposed her to risk. The risk caught up with her in November 1944. The crew who served on Albacore under Blanchard knew they were taking higher risks. They understood their captain's methods. Some agreed enthusiastically, others were more cautious, but all respected Blanchard's competence. He delivered results. His methods worked. The kills proved it. When Albacore disappeared, the submarine force lost one of its most effective boats. The loss was noted but not exceptional. Submarines were lost regularly. 52 American submarines were lost during World War II. Albacore was one among many. Her loss was mourned, but the war continued. What endured was her legacy. The long-range attack methods, the patience in tracking, the willingness to shoot when the solution was calculated but uncertain. Other commanders studied Albacore's patrol reports. They learned from her successes. They applied the lessons. The methods Blanchard pioneered influenced submarine tactics for the rest of the war. After the war, when the full accounting of losses was compiled, Albacore's achievements were recognized. 11 ships sunk, including 2 major warships. The sinking of Taiho specifically was identified as one of the most significant submarine kills of the Pacific War. The long-range shot that destroyed Japan's newest carrier became legendary. The story was told in submarine schools. The calculations were studied. The patrol reports were analyzed. Albacore became an example of what effective submarine operations looked like. The sniper approach, the patience, the precision, the willingness to take the shot when others would wait. But the human cost was never forgotten. 85 men lost. Commander Blanchard, who pioneered the methods, died using them. The crew who executed the tactics died in the patrol areas where they hunted. The success came with price. The price was paid in full. The wreck of Albacore has never been found. She lies somewhere off Hokkaido, probably broken by a mine explosion. The depth is unknown. The condition is unknown. She disappeared and remained gone. Like many submarines lost in the Pacific, she became a tomb for her crew. The ocean kept them. Her name was given to a new submarine after the war, USS Albacore, an experimental submarine. Served from 1953 to 1972. That boat pioneered submarine hull design and was preserved as a museum in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. But she is not the Albacore that sank Taiho. That boat is gone. The memory remains. The submarine that made impossible shots. The boat that hit from ranges other commanders would not attempt. The crew that calculated solutions other crews considered too uncertain. The commander who proved that patience and precision could defeat speed and armor. USS Albacore. The sniper that never missed when it mattered. The submarine that sank Japan's newest carrier from 9,000 meters. The boat that proved extreme range attacks could work. The vessel that made the impossible routine. She hit Tenryu from 7,000 meters. She hit Taiho from 9,000 meters. Both hits were considered improbable. Both targets sank. The method was validated. The commander was vindicated. The crew was proven right. Then she disappeared. Lost to a mine, probably. Gone to the bottom with all hands. The sniper shot her last shots and vanished. The ocean took her as completely as she took her targets. That is USS Albacore. The submarine that proved patience beats aggression. The boat that showed calculation defeats chance. The crew that made extreme range shots their specialty. The vessel that never missed until she disappeared. 11 ships sunk. 2 major warships among them. 70,000 tons sent to the bottom. All through precision, patience, and willingness to shoot when the solution said shoot, even when doctrine said wait. Commander Blanchard pioneered the method. His crew executed it perfectly. The kills proved it worked. The loss proved the risks were real. Both truths are documented. Both matter. USS Albacore, the sniper submarine. The boat that hit from impossible range. The vessel that proved precision matters more than proximity. The crew that died using the methods that made them famous. She hit Taiho. She sank Japan's newest carrier. She proved the impossible shot was possible. Then she vanished to a mine. The ocean kept her. The memory survives. That is her story. Precision, patience, success, loss. The complete arc from commissioning to disappearance. The submarine that hit what she aimed at and disappeared when she missed. USS Albacore, the sniper that never missed. Until she hit a mine. Then she missed everything. Forever. The ocean floor off Hokkaido holds her still. Somewhere in the darkness, somewhere in the deep. The submarine that made impossible shots and then became impossible to find. That is enough. That is the story. That is USS Albacore. The sniper. The calculator. The patient hunter. The precise killer. The submarine that hit from ranges others would not try. The boat that proved methods others doubted. The vessel that disappeared as completely as her targets. USS Albacore. Lost November 1944. Remembered for impossible shots that hit. Mourned for 85 men who died proving precision works. The sniper submarine. Gone but not forgotten. Lost but remembered. Vanished but validated. That is her legacy. That is her story. That is enough.